All right, guys, we are out here with 4 friends, and the good folks at Smash Hub in Oakdale, Minnesota, set me up with the court so I could do this live play test. So today we are going to take some drives off the ball machine, and then we're going to talk through how each of these 4 paddles feels and plays off all those shot types. So I've got the 11SIX24 Hurache X Power, I've got the SLK ERA Power, I've got the 11SIX24 Alpha Pro Power, and the JOOLA Perseus 16mm. And then once we're done doing drives, we're going to transition to drops, and we're going to do it all over again. We're going to talk about how the ball feels off the face, how the ball moves off the face, how your hand feels making contact through the ball, and all the little bits of nuance. And at the end, we're going to sum it all up. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of nuance, a lot of detail, and a lot of nitpicking that I'm going to have to do to pick clear favorites out of these 4. And I just want to underscore that this nitpicking part is probably the part that I enjoy the least, because all 4 of these are fantastic performing paddles. They just are. But I'm going to try to explain what I like about each one and also explain why. And I hope you find this information helpful. So without further ado, let's start the ball machine, and we'll start with drives. All right, we're going to start with the Hurache X's, Alpha Pro Power and Power. Okay, slightly firmer face on the Hurache X Power. Slightly firmer face. This does have a CFC layup as compared to an FCC layup. Going back to the Alpha Pro Power, oh yeah. A little softer, a little more plush. Let's go with the JOOLA and Alpha. JOOLA Perseus Pro 4. You hear that tone difference? Woo! Hit that one too hard. Alpha Perseus. So ball off the face. Paddles feel, this feels a bit softer. Pro 4. Hurache Alpha Pro Power. Perseus. Ooh. I feel like I got more dwell off the Perseus. I can just feel the ball sit on the face a little bit longer. This is very crisp. This being the Alpha Pro Power. Let's go to the SLK here. SLK. SLK. Okay, this is more crisp than the SLK. Oh, man. Yes. I'm going with it. SLK feels a touch softer, but the construction feels eerily similar. All right, SLK. SLK again. Hurache Alpha Pro. Gosh. So ball off the face, guys. Virtually these things sound the same. In this loud, boomy room, these 2 paddles sound nearly identical. Back to the Alpha Pro Power. This one's slightly higher pitched, but both paddles feel very crisp off the face. I'm gonna go SLK and Hurache X Power here, just to get a sense for where these two paddles stack up. Okay, these are pretty much identical. The Alpha Pro Power is much more crisp off the face. I don't know if one is stiffer than the other yet, but these might as well just be mirror copies. Well, this one might be the copy. Huh. That's okay. Ah, I'm missing them. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the Alpha Pro because these feel like identical. Let's go these two again. Let's go both Hurache X Huraches, Alpha Pro and Power. Very crisp. Like, you can feel the crisp. Think of a potato chip. You got one that's just crisp and fresh, and then you've got one that maybe it's a little stale. I'm not saying this is a stale paddle. I'm just saying the ball's not as crisp off this, the Hurache X Power, as it is the Alpha Pro Power. So CFC layup, FCC layup, ball off the face on drives, very crisp, very good dwell, much sharper on contact with the Hurache X Power. Like, you can feel that fiberglass layer here, because it's in the middle of the 3 layers, and you don't really feel that stiffer feel on your Alpha Pro Power until you drive, you know, through the ball, and that fiberglass layer is activated. So this has a crisper face. This has a more, I want to use the word stiff, but it's not a stiff feeling paddle, but it's stiffer than the Alpha Pro Power. Broken in. Got about 6 hours solid on this. Performance-wise, I'm still getting more power off of this. We'll check my numbers in a bit. And then that, well, oh, actually, no. This Hurache X Power, in terms of my perception of drive power right now, Hurache X Power, and I think I'm going with JOOLA Perseus Pro 4. And then I'm going with Hurache Alpha Pro Power. And then I'm going with the SLK. What's a little strange to me is how nearly identical these paddles feel, but I'm not getting as much action off of the SLK as I am off the Hurache X Power. It's a little strange to me. Could just be my perception, but I'll check those firepower scores in a bit, and I'll put them up on the screen. There's a lot of nuance here, but my goal taking away from this is to be able to explain how drives feel from ball off the face performance. Like, does the ball seem to jump off the face? How does the paddle feel at contact of the ball? Is it sharper, crisper, plusher, denser? You know, we're going to try to use all these words and try to define them along the way. So I'm going to go pick up the balls. I'll be right back. Let the drives continue. Let's try holding all 4 of these and see how we go. We'll start with the SLK this time. Okay. Alpha 11SIX24 Power. Very, very similar here. SLK. Yeah, this is not as powerful as the Hurache X Power. SLK, not what I'm seeing. Yeah, because I wonder if there's a fiberglass layering here. I don't think Selkirk told me what all the surface layer makeup was of this paddle. So let's go Alpha Pro Power Hurache. Yeah, it looks like identical. That's okay. I'm gonna put the JOOLA down. Putting the JOOLA down. Okay, Alpha Pro. That's okay. Good Lord, it's identical. Okay, this one's a bit more dense than either of these two. Dense, not in a bad way, just dense. I can feel the fiberglass layer in the Alpha Pro Power. Let me see if what I get out of the SLK. Hurache X Power. Come on. Come on. I'm not out. There we go. Alpha Pro Power, Hurache. Hurache Power. Dude, I don't know, man. These feel so similar. That's okay. Hurache Power. SLK. Alpha Pro Power. All right. I think I got it on drive feel. Hurache X. Power. One more on the power. Back to the SLK. Back to the Alpha Pro Power. Every time I say I think I got it, I want to hit more. That's okay. Okay. Okay, I got these 3. I'm going to put the JOOLA back in the mix in just a second. So there are times when I'm hitting both of these paddles. This is the Selkirk SLK ERA Power and the 11SIX24 Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. There are times when I'm hitting both of these paddles where the level of crispness of the ball off the face is nearly identical. And then there are times where I'm hitting drives, and it could be due to ball density too. So I've got a mixture of basically Franklin's in that ball machine and what else is in there? The Selkirk S1s or something. So softer ball, harder ball. Anyways, there are times when I am hitting these two, Hurache X Alpha Pro Power and SLK ERA Power, where like this feels nearly identical. And then there are times when I'm hitting these two where I'm like, These are nearly identical. So I did say that this has a denser feel, slightly denser feel compared to the Alpha Pro Power. I'm saying that the 11SIX24 Hurache X Power has a slightly denser, less actiony ball off the face on drives than the Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. In terms of like overall firepower, this one takes the cake for me based on what I'm observing here. The level of crispness in the 11SIX24 Hurache X Alpha Pro Power is not matched by any of these four paddles. JOOLA Perseus, which we're going to take some more drives off here in a second and compare it directly to the Alpha Pro Power. But the Hurache X Alpha Pro Power is the crispest feeling paddle of this group. The feedback is sharp. Again, not in a jarring way. Think you've just crunched into a potato chip, one that's fresh and crisp, and then you've bitten into one that is a little bit more stale, so it's a little bit more dense feeling. That's what I'm trying to describe here. God, I'm going to get roasted in the comments for this. I'm doing what I can here to help. The differences between the Hurache X Power and the Hurache X Alpha Pro Power are crisper, denser, more powerful, not as powerful. But we're talking about a very, very slim margin here. Now, SLK ERA Power to Hurache X Power, super, super similar. I think the x-rays show, and I'll put them up on the screen, like these are nearly identical. I think I have x-rays of both. Again, there are times where the SLK, you get that similar crispness of the ball feel off the face here. You can feel a little bit more dwell, like you can on the Alpha Pro Power on the SLK ERA Power, than you can on the Hurache X Power. Is it extreme? No. We're talking marginal differences here. But I'm also very curious if there is a fiberglass layer in this SLK ERA Power. All right, now let's just compare directly the Hurache X Alpha Pro Power and the JOOLA Perseus Pro 4 16mm. All right, before we move on to the next part of the playtest, I've just jotted some notes down. I'm going to share my hopefully more cohesive thoughts. So the Hurache X Power feels and plays the stiffest out of this group, and it's the most direct feeling paddle. There's not much in between, you know, contact and feel. When you drive, the ball does come off quick and pretty hot, but there's less margin for error here, I feel like, due to the lack of dwell. So you need clean contact to use this paddle, well, any paddle for that matter. I think expect slightly more depth and velocity with the Hurache X Power than these two. 3. The Hurache X Alpha Pro Power drives feel snappier. This paddle is more maneuverable to me in my hands. I think it's a lighter weight, if I recall correctly, and I believe the swing weight is lighter as well. This has slightly less raw punch and pop than the 11SIX24 Hurache X Power. This takes a little bit of a period of breaking in. Probably, for me, it was about 4 to 6 hours. They came and played very stiff, and then they softened up, and it's like a very nice feeling paddle once they soften up. So I think you will feel more control on shaping drives with the Alpha Pro Power Hurache X than you will with these other two. And then the JOOLA Perseus Pro 4, which we're going to talk about in a second, but I did hit some drives and jotted some notes down. This one feels the most refined out of this bunch to me. Refined and cleaner on drives. Slightly less explosive than the Hurache X Power and Alpha Pro Power. In the face does feel a bit firmer, but there's still a level of crispness. There's more crispness. I can't say that. There's more crispness than pop. That makes sense. There's more pop on the Alpha Pro Power and Hurache X Power. So let's play the Hurache X Alpha Pro Power and JOOLA Perseus Pro 4 side by side on drives. All right, we're going to start with the JOOLA Pro 4. Oh. Huh. Hopefully you can hear that. It's definitely more Gen 3 sounding. There is a level of crispness off the face. Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. Yeah. So just gonna pause real quick. So the level of, this is crisp, this is crisper. And the level of crispness is probably on a scale of 1 to 10. God, an 8 or 9 here. And there's probably a 5 or 6 or a 6 or 7 here. It's just not as amplified. So we're gonna go back to drives. It's JOOLA Pro 4 Perseus 16. Alpha Pro Power Hurache. Woo-hoo-hoo. It's just great shapeability here. This is so crisp, but not in a jarring way. There's no vibration with any of these paddles. None. JOOLA. Yeah. Denser. I'd compare this more. I'd compare the JOOLA more to the Hurache X Power. Let's go back to the Hurache X. Oh yeah. Okay. My perception of power is that, gosh, this is going to be embarrassing if my numbers are wrong, but I think the JOOLA has a touch more power than the Hurache X. It's just going to go to show you how marginal all of this stuff really, really is. I'm not sure what I have in my database right now. The power is very good with all 4 of these paddles. None of them are like deficient. None of them are going to hit through somebody's chest if that's your goal. But this feels cleaner, more direct, and crisper. This is the Alpha Pro Power Hurache X. And the JOOLA Pro 4 Perseus 16mm feels and plays on the denser side. Not dense in the sense that you are losing sensation or it's hard to feel the ball off the face. It's just denser than the Alpha Pro Power Hurache X. 2 excellent paddles. You got to ask yourself, $280, $300 with tax, or I think this is going to retail for $199 if I'm correct, and you could save a little bit with code MPB. Probably will cover tax. So you're almost $100 cheaper for excellent performance in this 11SIX24 Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. This also feels lighter in my hands than the JOOLA Pro 4 Perseus. I still love this paddle, no doubt. I am not going to knock it. But for $100 difference, once this thing softens up after that 4 to 6 hour period, this thing is money. It's fantastic. The biggest thing I'm confused about right now is just the differences between these three paddles. Hurache X Alpha Pro Power, Selkirk SLK ERA Power, and Hurache X Power. I think, and I'm going to go with, final conclusion here on drives, there's more similarities between these two than there are these two. These two being SLK ERA Power and Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. So, more similarities between Selkirk SLK ERA Power and 11SIX24 Hurache X Power. Now, there are some occasions, and again, I'm going back to, I think it's ball density, where the ball off the face feels eerily similar between these two, the SLK ERA Power and the 11SIX24 Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. It's a mouthful. When I'm playing a softer ball, like the X40s off the ball machine, the Hurache X Power and ERA Power, gosh, super similar. But there are times on drives when a harder ball comes through that the Hurache X Alpha Pro Power and the SLK ERA Power feel remarkably similar as well. So again, I know the surface layup of the Alpha Pro Power. I know the surface layup of the Hurache X Power. I'm not entirely clear on the surface layup of the SLK ERA Power. There are drives that I've taken, again, with harder balls that lead me to believe there might be a fiberglass layer in here. But I don't know for a fact. I don't recall. I should have done this research before I came here. And I remember asking Selkirk, this was in the embargo phase, and I don't think they wanted to share that information with me. But I'll find out for sure and update it in the comments or the description. Okay, guys, we are going to pick up the balls, and we're going to do drops now with all four paddles, and then we're going to come back and talk about it. All right, we are back. We're going to take some drops off the ball machine, and I'm going to try to compare these four paddles: Selkirk SLK ERA Power, 11SIX24 Hurache X Alpha Pro Power, JOOLA Perseus Pro 4, Perseus 16mm, and 11SIX24 Hurache X Power. Can we have shorter names for paddles, please, guys? Good Lord. Let's do some drops. We will start with the guest of honor, which is the Alpha Pro Power. We're doing this for the Alpha Pro Power Series review. Oh, I love this. Oh, man. It's just so whoops. It's just so clean. I want to keep this G-rated. Nope. Okay, gonna go to the 11SIX24 Hurache X Power. Interesting. Lovely, lovely feeling. I can't carry all these. JOOLA. Okay, denser feeling on the JOOLA, less feedback on drops. Excellent feel though off the face. Excellent performance off the face. SLK ERA Power. They're all great. They're all just good. I'm gonna have to nitpick here. Nope. Nope. Come on. No, that was awful. All right, couple more with the SLK. There we go. Okay, JOOLA again. It's just such a well-connected feel. Let's go to the SLK and Alpha Pro Power. Man, such a great feeling paddle. A little too much. A little too much. I'm trying to stay in frame here, and the ball machine's pushing me. Nope. Okay, that was the SLK. Hurache X again. SLK. These feel identical, guys. Let's throw the power into the mix since the JOOLA is the outlier here. Okay. Hurache X Power. Alpha Pro Power. Crisper, denser on the power. Crisper on the Alpha Pro Power. That's okay. I wish I could hit these blind. Nope. This is the Alpha Pro Power. Ah, it's such a bad, ugly drop. That's a little bit better. That's okay. Trying to stay in frame, trying to stay in frame. Okay. Hurache Power. Hurache Power still. Hurache Alpha Power. Alpha or Hurache Power. Hurache Power. Alpha Power. Alpha Pro Power. Hurache. Alpha Pros. Power. Okay. Got a hit. Gosh. King of the hit in the net right now. Okay, Alpha Pro Power. It's interesting because obviously I don't think I'm tapping into the fiberglass layer here, but it's still feeling a bit crisper on drops, the Alpha Pro Power that is. We're just measuring, we're assessing touch shots. Okay, SLK. 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 Power. Power. SLK. Power, yeah, power. SLK. Alpha. Okay, we've run on the balls. I can't analyze these yet. We gotta hit another round. All right, I think we're gonna take the JOOLA out of the equation here. And I'm gonna sum up the JOOLA by saying, out of these three, this one plays the most dense, relatively speaking, out of these four. There's still excellent feedback, excellent feel from ball transfer to your hand to ball flight off the face, as there is, you know, on all these paddles or all the other top tier paddles. If this one wasn't on the verge of being core crushed, this is still my main. Hands down, if I'm going into battle tomorrow, I'm taking the JOOLA I can't even say it. JOOLA Pro 4 Perseus 16mm. However, you have to seriously consider something that's $100 cheaper and plays so fantastically well. And that is the 11SIX24 Alpha Pro Power Hurache X 16mm. Like, it just feels so good in my hand. Handle feels great. The extra length feels great for chewies. The way the ball exits the face just feels great. The fiberglass layer touching the core gives excellent feedback and feel when you strike the ball and swing through the ball and the ball comes off the face. Like, it's hard to describe it. I use the potato chip analogy. What I mean by crispness, it's not a jarring sensation. I'm trying to describe the nuance of how this paddle feels to play in hand and performs when you're striking a ball. And finding those words are really, really difficult. I don't know if this is helpful. I hope it is. Certainly isn't my goal to confuse people. Genuinely, I'm doing this because I want to try to help. And I think there's something here when fiberglass is on the core. It's a buttery feel. I don't mean buttery soft. This is why it's hard. Crisp and connected. Those are the two words I want to use. Which paddle out of these three feels the most crisp, maybe sharp on contact, and connected? Connected when you strike the ball and through the ball. And I'm going with 11SIX24 Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. We're going to take some more drops though, because I want to refine that assessment with these three paddles. Alpha Pro Power, SLK ERA Power, Hurache X Power. The JOOLA is just, I'm not going to say it's in its own league. It's not, even though it is in the premium tier category. The JOOLA Pro 4 Perseus, to me, offers more the complete Gen 3 polypropylene honeycomb core experience. But again, mine's on the verge of core crushing. And I know 6 other people, friends, who've had to send theirs in for warranty claims. I'm sure the people are out there that have had core issues with 11SIX24 paddles. Hand to God, I don't know any of them. But again, I'm sure JOOLA, it's probably 10 to 1 for the amount of paddles JOOLA shipping versus 11SIX24. And we all know 11SIX24 is shipping a ton of paddles. So let's do some more drops. Let's come back and talk, and then we'll just kind of wrap all this up. All right, I'm going to start this time with I'm just going to call this Hurache Power, Hurache Alpha, and SLK Power. Probably should have decided on that before I started. Hurache Power. You know, out of these three, this one reminds me most of the JOOLA. But I gotta say, I still prefer the JOOLA a bit more than the Hurache Power. The durability is a real concern. All right, let's do some real drops here. And try to get them over the net. Try to get them in front of the kitchen line. Like that one. That was actually high. That was high. Okay. Nope. Oh, yep. Okay, SLK. Huh. Double huh. Okay, Power. Hurache Power. SLK Power. Hurache Power. Okay, Hurache Power is playing on the denser side. There's still good feedback. There's not as much feedback as there is with the Alpha Pro Power Hurache. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can hear it too. All right, let's do Hurache Power again. I want to try to do 3 in a row here with each paddle. Or interesting. SLK. Alpha. Hurache Power. Alpha. SLK. Hurache Power. SLK. Alpha. It's the ball machine's pushing me back, sorry. Alpha. SLK. Power. Hurache Power. Hurache Power again. SLK Power. Mama. Ooh. Missed it. SLK Power. Hurache Power. Okay. Okay, so here's what I'm going with. On drops. Now, I'm not saying on control, right? There's a guy in Discord who's like, he said this paddle was the most controllable on drops. I didn't say that in the last playtest. So let's pay attention to what I am saying. I'm just joking. Calm down. Out of these 3, Hurache Power, SLK Power, Hurache Alpha. Densest of the 3. With still good feedback, but just plays denser. Which is a little strange to me because the fiberglass layer is in the middle on the Hurache Power. And going Hurache Power on drops. How does the ball feel off the face of the paddle? Excellent. For all 4 of them actually. But like, how does it feel? Okay. Feels denser. I'm not going to use the word plush here. It's not plush. It just feels like there's more substance behind the swing. I'm not saying that this is heavy either. The paddle feels very connected when you are dropping. It's easier to feel more in control, I want to say. I'm not saying you're going to hit magical drops with this paddle. I'm not saying that. Just saying because there's a layer, there's a level of denseness, and along with denseness often comes a slight muted frequency. So in terms of the way that drops feel with the Hurache Power, they feel denser, they feel a bit more muted, and along with denseness and mutedness, that's the word, comes a little tiny bit of a disconnected feel because the paddle's not giving you as much feedback as the Alpha Pro Power. Now, some people might like that. I, on the other hand, like to feel every miss hit. I want to know when I didn't strike something right. I am getting out of the 11SIX24 Hurache X Power just a little level of mutedness and denseness, which can contribute to more of a feeling of disconnectedness. It's not disconnected in a bad way or that would lead you to like totally avoid buying this paddle. Again, I have to nitpick between these 3 and I'm trying to do that. So it's marginal, but out of these 3, a little bit more muted, a little bit more dense, slightly disconnected, which is surprising to me because I would expect a fiberglass layer in the middle sandwiched between 2 carbon fiber layers to play and feel more connected. than it does actually on the Alpha Pro Power series. So in terms of reducing that denseness and mutedness, what's next? I'm going here with the SLK by a slim margin. I can feel a bit more connected with the SLK ERA Power on drops than I do with the Hurache X Power. I'm nitpicking again. And then personally, my favorite for drops out of these four, okay, I'm including the JOOLA in this one, is the Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. There's something about the way that the fiberglass layer on top of this black polypropylene honeycomb core feels by way of feedback that I like. And as you can see, I have no weight on this paddle, and I am enjoying this thoroughly playing at stock. So on drives, to kind of sum all this stuff up, on drives, including the JOOLA, what do I like the most? What are my favorites? I just love the way both of these play. This is the JOOLA Pro 4 Perseus 16mm and the 11SIX24 Hurache Alpha Pro Power. I love the way these two paddles feel on drives. That doesn't mean these are bad, the Hurache X Power and the SLK Power. I'm nitpicking. These are marginal differences. I'm trying to pick a top one or two and then explain the reasons why. I'd take any four of these in the battle, okay? But my favorites today, off the ball machine, on drives, I love my Perseus 16mm, and I am really getting an affinity for this Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. And I've been playing this a lot. How do drops feel? How do drops land with all four of these paddles? How connected do you feel as you're dropping? How would you rate them? My favorite's the Hurache X Alpha Pro Power. It's also the Perseus. I'm a feel-based player. When I feel like my feel is on drives, like I'm striking the ball where I want to on the paddle surface, I love the feedback that I get. And I also know, you know, if I've missed, I've dialed in that sense of feedback that the paddle gives me. And more importantly, I like that sense of feedback. So my top two favorites on drives and drops, in terms of performance, in terms of trajectory, launch angle, in terms of just being able to feel like I can hit my targets, out of these four, and it's marginal again, guys, but I'm going here. 11SIX24 Hurache X Alpha Pro Power and JOOLA Pro 4 Perseus 16mm. That is it. That is my playtest assessment out of taking drives and drops with all four of these paddles and trying to talk with you through all the nuance and detail and playing characteristics. And if you got any questions about paddle performance, how the ball feels off the face of one or the other, if you're looking for recommendations, drop a note in the comments and I will do my best to help. I hope you guys found this playtest helpful. And if you like this type of content type review, let me know that in the comments too, and I'll be sure to prioritize more of it. I'm also open to feedback. So if there's anything that you wish that I did different or that I added to this, let me know that as well. Obviously, I can't go through every type of shot. I don't have all day to do this. But hopefully we've covered a lot. Driving through the ball and dropping the ball and just thinking through the level of feedback and sharing that all with you guys. So thanks again for watching. I appreciate all you subscribers. If you wouldn't mind sharing this video with a friend, I'd appreciate it. And I will catch you in the next one.